Awesome. Um, so I'm sure you're an exceptionally busy person. You have a lot of things that are going on for you. What when you want to unwind from all of that work, just like not so much as stress, but just take a break from work, what are things that you do to like relax and have fun?
Well, I definitely love hanging out with my friends, like talking to, and not like a huge bunch of friends, I just have like two or three just really, really good friends that when we have time, we just go out to dinner and just like talk. And, I think it's really, really good to just vent stuff that you feel, because otherwise you just hold it inside all the time.
Mhm.
And honestly, like teaching ballet is also really, really nice for me because it kind of takes my mind away from school and like helps me focus on something else for a few hours of my week. And I really love teaching ballet. It's definitely one of my passions. Like I want to keep doing it for, because it does keep that part. Like I still love ballet, and it just keeps that part of ballet in my life. So teaching ballet, hanging out with friends, and also hanging out with my family. I have two cats at home, and they're like the best cats ever. They're like the sweetest. And so hanging out with them, going on hikes, going out into nature is also really nice. So I think I do those things. But the biggest thing I would say is hanging out with my friends and also sleeping. Like, for example, I had an exam yesterday. So like the week leading up to my exam, I didn't really sleep as much just because I was studying so much. So then finally when I got home last night, I would like slept for so long. Like I think I didn't wake up for like 15 hours. I was really tired, like really tired. Like I think I only slept 3 hours a night for like the last week.
Oh
And
wow.
then after the exam I was just exhausted. So I just slept for 15 hours and now I feel fine. I would not recommend that. I would not recommend that. But that just ended up what happened, I guess.
I'm sure it paid off in your exam.
Yeah. Hopefully.
People talking about how social media has a big influence on as kids, especially like teenagers, stress.
Mhm.
Feel. So like what is your opinion on that, and or how often do you use social media like Facebook and Instagram and things like
Yeah. Right. That's a really good question. I think social media is quite a controversial topic. Some people think it's amazing, some people think it's horrible. I'm
that?
kind of in between. I think social media can be great, and I think there's parts of social media that cannot be good as well. So what makes social media great is that it really does connect people. It does connect, for example, for me, it connected myself to a lot of people around the world that love ballet and love looking at ballet photos. It connected me to my ballet friends that I didn't have their phone number, but I was able to connect with them through Instagram. It's just a great way of showing off your life, which connects me to my like the kind of bad side of social media is that there could be a lot of people do post only the best parts of their life. So you never really post about like, bad things you're going through. So then everybody else thinks you're having an amazing life. And then you as a user could feel like, oh, everyone else is having amazing lives. Like they only post like like they're in Hawaii every other week. Like they think all their friends are doing amazing and they have the perfect lives, but then you look at yourself and you're like, I have like it makes you a little bit depressed because you're like all these other people are doing amazing and I'm not doing well. So that can kind of stress you out sometimes. So I think that's like not a great part of social media. And also there could be, of course, like cyberbullying and stuff where people leave mean comments or they say mean things just because it's not in person, or they leave even just slightly negative things about other people can really destroy someone.
Mhm.
So that's the also not a great side of social media. But I generally think it's good, to connect to your friends. I used to use social media like all the time. Like I had a big Instagram, especially when I was doing ballet, just because Instagram is like the perfect platform for ballet, because ballet is such a visual art form. and Instagram's like a place where you show visual like pictures and videos, and so it just blended really well where I was taking photo shoots every other week, and so I had hundreds of pictures to post every day, and I'd post once a day at a certain time. And I really interacted with like my supporters and everything. Nowadays, since I'm not doing as much ballet and I'm just studying a lot, I don't really take as many photos because it's just be boring if I'm just like take a photo of me studying at like some dark library every day. It wouldn't be very entertaining. So I just don't really post as much. I still check Instagram just to see what my friends are up to, my ballet friends all over the world. And I check Facebook, but I definitely don't like post as much, even though I feel like I probably should, just because there are so many people that kind of might want to see what I'm up to, and people do message me. They're like, you should still post like you studying and stuff, but I just don't really take as many pictures anymore, so it's kind of hard to post. But so I do think there's pros and cons of social media for sure.
Yeah, that was a super insightful answer. I don't want to be like repetitive, but are there any moments throughout your career that stand out to you that have been like super stressful, or like, yeah, just like any one or two big moments, whether it was in university or as a dancer, that stand out to you and how you dealt with it or didn't deal with it? Yeah.
Definitely. I think in university there hasn't been too like stressful of a time. Of course, exam time, it's a little bit stressful because you want to do well in your exams. But there hasn't been too many times of like extreme like stress or anything like that, which I've been really lucky. In terms of ballet, I did the Moscow International Ballet Competition, which lasted about 2 weeks. And for that competition, I wouldn't say it was stress, but I definitely kept myself very nervous, I would say. I think every competition leading up to that competition, I had always messed up in the last round of each competition leading up to Moscow. Like Prix de Lausanne, Varna, YGP, like every other competition that I'd done, I'd do really well until the final round, and the final round I'd like perform so bad. And I was like, why is this happening? And I realized that when I get into the final round, which is really hard to do, like not many people would get into it, but I'd get into it and I'd be like so happy I got into the final round. I think like something in my body would relax and I just wouldn't be focused as much anymore, and I just like do really bad on stage. So for Moscow, I made sure like I didn't want this to happen again. So so the first 2 rounds go by and I do really well, and I figure out I get into the final round and I'm like, this is where it's gonna go down. Like I'm gonna do horrible. Like I keep telling myself, like, I don't know, like I kept myself so nervous for Moscow, but then I don't know, it actually like I did end up dancing well, because I kept myself so nervous, which I don't know, I don't think works for many other dancers or anything. I don't know, but it worked out for me. So that's like a very kind of nervous time that pops up in my mind. And then another time was in Bulgaria when I was at the Varna International Ballet Competition, when during the second round, I ended up kind of like dislocating a bone in my foot. Luckily, it was at the end of a pas de deux, but I was just like so kind of like depressed because I'd like trained so hard for that competition for so long. And I figure out I like get into the final round and I have to decide whether to dance or not. And I decided to dance because we were there in Bulgaria. So I get like an anesthetic like shot in my foot like an hour before the final round. And me and my partner like re-choreograph everything because it's like the Black Swan pas de deux. It's like a really hard pas de deux. But I ended up dancing and I did okay. Of course not my best because I had an injured foot, but that was also kind of stressful and kind of scary because like what if I like really mess up my feet bad, then that would be the end. So that was kind of stressful too, but yeah, I would say that's about it.
Yeah, and for the people that are listening, I've seen the video of the Moscow, your final round, and it's amazing. So I think
Oh, thank you.
it paid off because it was great. It was a very fun video to watch.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I was very, very nervous, but I just like danced my very best, which had never happened before in any other competition. So I was very happy at the end.